Hello everyone, this is Miss Mayorga again, now with another video. This time we're going to be going into lesson 14, conditionals. So just like usual, if you're in my class, make sure you have the notebook open and you have logged into Code Studio. All right, but let's get started. Our essential question for today is how can programs react to changes as they are running? And then our learning objective is to use conditionals to react to changes in variables and sprite properties. So we're going to be learning quite a bit of new code today. For today's lesson, please work on bubbles 1 through 10. For bubble 8, please complete activity C. Activity A and B are optional. And for bubble 11, that's an optional challenge, although I do encourage you to try activity A in this challenge. I will not be grading any bubble for this lesson. However, what you learn in this lesson will be assessed in future lessons. And this lesson is actually quite important because it's a lot of stuff that you're going to be using to create your games. You should finish it by the end of class. If not, finish it for homework. All right. So just a little sneak peek. We're going to be creating some more fun animations. Something I put together. All right, so we'll learn how to do this kind of stuff in today's lesson. Let's go ahead and get started. Bubble number 1, lesson 14, bubble 1. This is the overview. We're going to be talking about Boolean expressions and conditionals. Go ahead and continue on to bubble 2. Boolean expressions. Boolean expression is an expression that can only evaluate to true or false. Predict. Read the code below. There are some new symbols in which you which you haven't been introduced to. Take a guess at what they mean and try to answer the following question. Which results will be printed in the console by this program? So if you look at the options, I kind of already clicked the answer, so I don't want to show you. You might have seen it already, but basically you have A, B, C, D, and they have like true, false, true, 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 false, right? And then there's the one that has numbers. Remember, Boolean expressions can only evaluate to true or false. So let's take a look at the statements that we have here. For excuse me, console.log, this is the console log over here. We're going to see things pop up down here. So basically, you're asking the computer a question, right? And these are the 3 questions we're asking. And it will tell you true or false. Sprite1.y is equal to sprite2.y. So remember, .y has to do with the y coordinate. Excuse me. Sprite1, the y coordinate is 200. Sprite2, the y coordinate is 200. So is this statement true? Sprite1.y equals sprite2.y. That is true. So this first line should come out to true. The second line, sprite1.x is greater than sprite2.x. So let's take a look. Sprite1x is 100. Sprite2x is 300. Is 100 greater than 300? True or false? That's false, right? 100 is not greater than 300. So this would come out to false. And lastly, sprite1.x is less than sprite2.y. Make sure you're paying attention here. Sprite1.x, that's sprite1, x coordinate 100. Is that less than sprite2.y? Sprite2, y coordinate 200. So 100 less than 200. True or false? True. Yeah, so we should see down here in the console log, we should see true, false, true. And that was option A, true, false, true. Right. So these are Boolean expressions. These are expressions that can either be true or false. All right, go ahead and click finish. Continue on. For bubble 3, it is a video, so go ahead and pause my video, watch the video on bubble 3 that introduces Boolean expressions, and then come back to my video. All right, hopefully you watched the video on bubble 3. Let's move on to level 4, bubble 4. Matching comparison operators. Match the Boolean expression to the English description. All right, so let me go student view. Here we go. Is the dog's sprite's rotation less than the cat's sprite's rotation? So we're looking for, this is the English description, and we need to match the Boolean expression. Dog's sprite rotation less than the cat's sprite rotation. Which one is this? The third one, yeah. Dog's rotation less than cat rotation. So this one will go here. Is the dog's sprite's X less than the cat sprite's X? So dog X less than the cat X. So can we find that here? Which of these blocks is that? This top one, dog X less than cat X. Is the dog sprite's scale greater than the cat sprite's scale? Which block is that? First, second, or third? Yeah, the third one. Dog scale greater than cat scale. Is the dog sprite's X greater than the cat sprite's X? Dog sprite X greater than cat sprite X. And is the dog sprite's X equal to cat sprite's X? Which just leaves this option. All right, you can go ahead and click submit. And we'll continue on to the next bubble. I'm not going to click submit because I don't want it to save my options, but here we go. All right, bubble 5. You might notice that I have a different background from most of my other videos. Usually I have like my desk area background with lights and stuff, or sometimes I'm sitting downstairs in my living room. But today I am at home in Las Vegas. I came home for the weekend and I'm recording the videos at home, so that's why it's a different background. Yeah, so you see, I don't know if you're familiar with El Chavo del Ocho, a little character from a show. So that's him right there. And I don't know if you can see Baby Yoda. It's down here. Little Baby Yoda. It's not mine. It's my brother's, but it's in here. So we've got a special guest in here. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Booleans. The program draws a race car and a finish line. We're going to figure out when the race car crosses the finish line. The sprites have all been set up for you. Do this. Add a console log statement inside the draw loop. All right. So let's go ahead and add a console log statement inside the draw loop. If you're not sure where, just click on show me where and it will tell you. So right here, right underneath here. So look for the console log statement, console log block here. We're going to drag it right underneath where it says race car. Awesome. And then add a Boolean expression inside the console log that asks, is the X position of the race car less than the X position of the finish line? So kind of thinking back to bubble 4 where we had the words and then the code. We're doing the code, right? So is the X position of the race car less than the X position of the finish line? So for that, we're going to go to math. And now you have more math blocks. We're looking for the less than operator. And we're asking, is the X position of the race car, which means we need sprite.x. For race car, is the X position of the race car less than the X position of finish line? So same thing, but this time we need to call it finish line. So this is asking, is the race car X position less than the finish line X position? Look at the output of the program as the car moves. When does the output change and why? So let's take a look down here in the console. As we run the program, let's see what happens. False, 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 false. True. I'll run that one more time. What is happening? When does it change? When does this change from false to true? When the car crosses the finish line, right? Because as long as the question is asking us, is the race car X position less than the finish line X position? And when it starts off, the race car is over here. So X is like almost 400. The finish line is over here. So at about, 40, right? So, but as the car is moving over, eventually it gets past the X position of the finish line and it becomes less than that. That's when this becomes true. that the race car X is less than finish line X. Okay, let's go ahead and click finish. Continuing on to bubble 6. This is a very, very important block, the if statement. So Boolean expressions allow us to ask questions, but in order to use those questions to change the program's behavior, we need an if statement. Do this. Read the code in the race car program. What will the program do when the car reaches the finish line? Why is the if block inside the draw loop? So let's take a look at the code. This if statement. What is this if statement saying? What is it asking? So this is saying if racecar.x, so the x position of the race car, if racecar.x is less than 100, then do what's inside the blue loop. So it's saying if this is true, racecar.x is less than 100, then display winner in the console log down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and I guess make your prediction. I kind of already went over it, but let's click run and let's see what happens down here. And then it changes to winner. So initially nothing happens because this is false initially, right? The racecar.x starts off all the way over here at around 400. So that's not less than 100. Still not less, as I move to the left, still not less than 100. So nothing's happening. Still not less, still not less, still not less than 100, getting there, getting there, getting there. And finally, as soon as it hits 99, this statement becomes true. Racecar.x is less than 100. That is true once it hits over here. And at that point, the computer is going to run anything that's inside this loop. So basically, a simple example of an if statement would be like, look outside. If it is raining, wear a rain jacket. So if it's not raining, then you don't do anything. You don't wear a rain jacket. But if it is raining, if it is true that it's raining, you wear a rain jacket. So it's the same thing here. If the racecar.x is less than 100, the x position is less than 100, all this is less than 100, then display the word winner in the console. All right. Moving on to bubble 7. Bubble 7 is another video. So at this point, go ahead and pause my video again and go watch the video in level 7 and then come back. All right, welcome back. Moving on to bubble 8. This video, hopefully you learned a little bit about conditional statements and how we can use conditional statements in our programs. Changing fruit. Now that we know how to use if statements, you can do more than just check if the apple has reached a scale of 2. You can turn it into a pear once it happens. Use the conditional in the draw loop to check whether the fruit scale is greater than 2. If it is, change the fruit's animation to pear. Right, so, oh, sorry, I think I started this. Let me restart this. Or was it already there? No, okay, yeah, so the apple, sorry. Yes, this is an apple, although it's orange. Anywho, the apple is growing, and we want to check for when the size of it or the scale is greater than 2. And when that is true, we want to change the fruit's animation to pear. So the first thing we're going to need is our if block. So if this is true, right? So if, go ahead and drop that in there. If the scale is greater than 2, so we need our math greater than operator. And we're asking if the fruit.scale is greater than 2. So I'm just going to put sprite.scale, make sure to rename it fruit.scale. If fruit.scale is greater than 2. So that's the question we're asking the computer. And if it is true, then we go into the instructions inside the loop. So if it is true, we want to set the animation of that. We want to change the animation. So if the fruit.scale is greater than 2, then change the animation for fruit to a pear. All right, so right now it's not greater than 2, not greater than 2, and eventually it is greater than 2, bam, and then it changes into a pear. Once this statement becomes true, then the computer will do what's inside the loop. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause here and I will pick up on the rest of lesson 14 in part 2. All right, see you in the next video.